As more and more people sign up for cryptocurrency, the network becomes increasingly strained. Ethereum, as the market leader, is in a scalability crisis, but it appears that we may not have to wait much longer for lower transaction fees. With Layer 2 solutions, it's likely the Ethereum platform's success is well begun. But what exactly are these Layer 2 projects, and how do they work? In this video, we'll go over these topics and more. Let's get started. Why do we need Layer 2 solutions? You've probably heard about the high gas fees that Ethereum users must pay to make transactions on the network. With the overwhelming transaction volume on Ethereum, it's becoming a who-can-afford-to-pay system for your transactions to go through faster than other users on the network. Today, users might have to pay several $100s just to complete a single network transaction. During the recent Other Deeds land sale, gas spiked to as high as 8,000 gwei, and users had to pay over 2 ETH just for transaction fees. It's no secret that high gas fees are causing a major scaling crisis for Ethereum. Firstly, they must find a way to accommodate millions, if not hundreds of millions, of people in the future. Also, they need to run more transactions per second. Currently, Ethereum's capacity cannot allow it to perform large numbers of transactions per second. Most importantly, Ethereum needs to maintain the network security and high level of decentralization. So how can Ethereum sustain blockchain scalability, security, and decentralization trillium so that the entire system does not collapse? Enter Layer 2 solutions. Although Ethereum plans to release several updates in the coming years, its Layer 2 solutions appear to assure users of the platform's future success. Layer 2 solutions are a way for Ethereum to scale blockchains. Before Layer 2 solutions, Ethereum ran the blockchain in a monolithic manner. This means that everything was done on the blockchain itself, from transaction processing to security protocols to data integrity. However, Ethereum is currently adopting a modular approach that makes use of a multi-layer system. So rather than handling everything on its own, the blockchain delegates some of the work to other layers of the network. So in this case, Layer 2 operates on top of Ethereum, which is also referred to as a Layer 1 blockchain. Other Layer 1s you may use are Bitcoin, Solana, Binance Smart Chain, and more. How do Layer 2s work? Layer 2 solutions usually execute transactions outside of their underlying network. Once done, they send back compressed forms of the transactions back to the network. In this way, Layer 2 performs the execution part, while Layer 1 performs the security and final data storage. Many Layer 2s can run simultaneously on top of Ethereum. This means that you can have a much higher number of transactions running per second. Layer 2 scaling solutions send compressed forms of the transactions back to Ethereum on a regular basis. In turn, Ethereum assures the transaction's security and decentralization. Because no modifications are required on Layer 1, all Layer 2 does is take over the transactional burden from Layer 1. In this way, Ethereum becomes less congested, and the blockchain becomes more scalable. As a result, Ethereum can be scaled up in the future. It will also be fast while retaining the blockchain's security and integrity. The most exciting Layer 2 solutions. Since many Layer 2s can run simultaneously on top of Ethereum, many projects have emerged over these last few months. Each new Layer 2 solution will often tweak the code of its predecessor to boost efficiency, the most exciting of which are Arbitrum, Optimism, ZK Sync, Starknet, and Metis. These projects generally fall under 2 categories: optimistic rollups and ZK rollups. Let's look at how these projects differ from one another. Optimistic Layer 2 rollups. There are 3 major types of optimistic rollups: Optimism and Arbitrum and Metis. The Optimism project is the preceding Layer 2 solution, which uses single-round fraud proofs and relies on Layer 1 to execute Layer 2 transactions. As a result, the fraud-proof verification process is instant, but it incurs extra gas fees due to its reliance on on-chain Layer 1 execution processes. Arbitrum, on the other hand, saw this problem and tweaked Optimism's source code to implement multi-round fraud proofs. This way, transactions are not entirely executed on Layer 1. Lastly, there's Metis, a hard fork project of Optimism that offers a higher level of decentralization. It does this using multiple sequencers as opposed to one, as Optimism does. It also uses its own virtual machine called the Metis Virtual Machine (MVM). Since the Metis launch, there has been a lot of excitement and increasing interest around the project, particularly because it uniquely uses its own token, Metis DAO. Why are they called optimistic rollups? These 3 rollups are known as optimistic rollups because they employ an honor system in which the smart contract on Layer 1 does not validate that Layer 2's state changes were done correctly. Furthermore, Optimism and Arbitrum do not have their own tokens. They instead use wrapped ETH, which has a 1-to-1 ratio with the ETH token. As a result, they both have cross-chain ERC20 token compatibility. We also have zero-knowledge rollups, ZK rollups, like ZK Sync and Starknet. They are also tokenless and perform similar to optimistic rollups in that they compress large off-chain transactions and submit them as a single transaction onto Ethereum. The main difference is that Ethereum smart contracts won't take the off-chain transaction in good faith. Instead, ZK rollups require a zero-knowledge cryptographic proof that all the transactions were carried out correctly. In the end, each batch of transactions will have its own validity proof sent to Ethereum. Optimistic rollups may have more disputes on the validity of the transactions. More disputes could mean significantly longer withdrawal periods compared to ZK rollups. On the flip side, optimistic rollups provide significant scalability gains since they do not need to perform additional computation by default. What is the best Layer 2 solution? Layer 2's significantly lower gas fees and help scale Ethereum to accommodate more transactions per second. However, users seem to favor Arbitrum over other Layer 2 solutions. In fact, Arbitrum is the leading solution of all other Layer 2 projects, with the most users and the highest billion total value locked (TVL) in smart contracts. Currently, users prefer Arbitrum for Ethereum scaling. Arbitrum has lower gas fees and an automatic Arbitrum Virtual Machine (AVM) to Ethereum Virtual Machine (EVM) translation, which encourages dApps to go with Arbitrum for its total control over executing smart contracts. As far as the future of Ethereum goes, Layer 2 technologies are looking bright for the market leader. Hopefully, these projects continue to solve the congestion issues and high gas fees that users currently have to pay to use the platform. Subscribe to CoinGecko and turn on your notifications for future alpha. See ya!